Hey YouTube, this is We All Juggle Knives. In this video I'm going to be going over something kind of related to not becoming a victim of violent crime. This discussion was prompted by a few television shows that I saw that were true crimes. In other words, it was a true story, true stories. They interviewed the police, the lawyers, the medical guy, the detectives, everything, and they told you the story of what happened to these people that got killed. Okay, and I just noticed some basic lessons in these true crime shows. Okay, everyone needs to understand when you need to fight. Beyond a certain line, you need to fight. Okay, there's a certain lines that are crossed that there's no more negotiation, there's no hesitation. Even if you don't have a chance in hell, you might as well fight anyway. In the first show that I saw, this woman and her two daughters, who were grown, they weren't like little, they were big enough they could have fought. They were like teenagers, and then the mom. So they went on vacation, and this guy, he like invaded their hotel room, and he scared them, and he basically tied them up, and then he killed them all. All right, and they allowed him to tie them up. All right. I don't remember if he had a weapon. It doesn't matter if he had a weapon, because, and I realized these were not trained fighters, these the woman and the girls, but you had a situation where it was 3 people against 1 person, and yeah, they were scared, but you know what? In that situation, it is better to fight than to allow yourself to be tied up and made completely helpless, because when you're completely helpless, you have 0 chance. If he wants to kill you, he'll kill you. They were gambling that he didn't want to kill them. Well, if he didn't want to kill you, then why was he making you helpless, They gambled and lost. If they had fought, they still might have lost, especially if he had a weapon and they weren't trained fighters. But you know what? Probably at least one of them would have survived, because a fight would have brought the police, a fight would have drawn attention because it's loud, and maybe 1 or 2 of them could have escaped. Okay, so yeah, if someone's going to tie you up, I would say fight, especially if there's like 1 person wants to tie up 3 people. No, 3 people should be able to at least have a chance against 1 person. Alright, the second show that I saw, these 2 college kids encountered a serial killer. He was like something like the Railroad Killer or something like that. He'd killed a bunch of people, alright? They encountered this guy by the railroad tracks on their college, a late night. They're just out there having a romantic stroll. And the guy goes up to him with like a screwdriver, and he basically says, I'm going to rob you. But I'm going to tie you up first, and then I'm just going to rob you and leave you here. So the guy and the girl were like, okay, tie us up. He tied him up. He tied up the guy with the straps of the guy's own backpack, all right? And he tied him up, and then he smashed their skulls with a very heavy rock. I think he also assaulted, he raped the girl and then smashed their skulls. And they couldn't do anything because they were tied up. They let the guy tie them up. Alright, again, it was a situation where it was 2 against 1, and the 2 people surrendered to the 1 person because they're scared, they want to avoid conflict, they're gullible, they trusted him. And I realized these were just college kids. They were not trained fighters, If they had fought, they might have died anyway, because the serial killer dude had killed a bunch of people. He was very good at killing people. He knew how to kill someone. So they might have died anyway, but, they died anyway. At least it's better to die fighting. Maybe somebody can escape. At a certain point, when do you draw the line? When do you start fighting, Never. Apparently never. Apparently never. People just are so scared they want to avoid conflict. They always think they can negotiate. If I just appease this person, if I just do what they say, it'll be fine. These people, they're used to just following the orders of authority figures, and they just they don't have critical thinking and logical ability. I mean, if you get tied up, you can't fight, so you better fight right there. It's the same thing when people get abducted. You know, if someone tries to throw you in the van or says, you know, a gun to your head, get in the van, you might as well fight anyway, even if they have a gun. You know, me, I'm going to take my chance. Even if you have a gun, I'm going to take my chance. Maybe I'm fast enough. Maybe my reaction time is faster than your reaction time. Because I know damn well if you want to abduct me somewhere, you're just going to kill me there. You know, they want to abduct you to a place where there's less chance of witnesses so they can kill you and not get caught, okay? So if you're going to get abducted, I don't care if there's like 10 people. Well, let them kill you right there. At least you have more of a chance fighting 10 people outside the van than in the trunk of the van. You're not going to fight anyone in the trunk, right? Right? So, yeah, things like getting tied up or getting thrown, you know, taken to a different location, those are really times where you might as well fight. I mean, the worst that can happen, okay, so you fight, they beat the shit out of you, and they put you in the trunk anyway. Well, alright, so, I mean, the same thing's going to happen. The same thing's going to happen, you know. Some people say, oh, but if you resist, they'll definitely kill you. Well, how do you figure that? How do you figure that? I mean, you don't know that. And I think in the case of being tied up or being abducted somewhere, I think the chances are much higher that you would just get killed if you went along. If you went along with it. Alright, so that's just my observations on these episodes of true events that actually happen. You know, if you got 3 against 1, don't agree to get tied up. If you've got 2 against 1, even if you're not a trained fighter, those were young college kids, you know, young healthy college kids, you should be able to do something, man. And of course, it just goes to show, if these people had weapons, it would be a totally different story, you know. If all 3 of those, that woman and her daughters, if they all had one of these, do you think that the one guy would have been able to overpower him? You know, maybe he's strong. Maybe he could grab one and disarm one of them, but he's going to get stabbed to death by the other 2, right? What if those 2 college kids had both had knives? I don't think the guy would have even, you know, they wouldn't even have to fight. Just if they both had knives, the guy would have just gone and found some other victim. He's not looking to get into a knife fight with 2 people, right? So the weapons, any type of weapon, not even a gun, preferably a gun, but I just say knife because everybody has a knife. Do you have a kitchen? Well, then you probably have a knife. You know, even if you're not a knife collector, you probably have a knife in your home, right? Not everyone is allowed to have a gun or have a gun in their home, but everybody has a knife, right? In fact, there was another one of these shows that I saw a long time ago. There was another guy, I'm pretty sure this guy was a serial killer too. He, maybe he was just a burglar, I don't know. These 2 college girls were in like an apartment, right? And they heard the window break. They heard a window break in the other room of their apartment. And so one of the girls grabbed a mop handle, you know, kind of like a stickball bat. It's just a mop handle, basically a large stick. The other girl grabbed like a butcher knife from the kitchen drawer, and they crept in. You know, one of them has a butcher knife, the other one's holding a stick, and the guy was going through the window, and he saw that, and he turned right around. He didn't want no part of getting hit with a stick and stabbed with a butcher knife. And, you know, I'm sure he was probably bigger and stronger than them, but he didn't want no part of that. And it just goes to show, you know, what would have happened if he went in there and they surrendered and let him tie them up. Just as in the military, you have a duty to resist as long as you have a means to resist. And even if you don't have a means to resist, if you're pretty much, you know, almost definitely going to be executed, you have a duty to resist anyway. Because, you know, maybe they will kill you, but if everybody resisted, someone would eventually come out on top. You know, there's guys that, like, serial killers and such, serial rapists and bad people, they had like 20 victims, and none of the victims resisted. They found ways to trick them or just get them to let them tie them up. But, you know, if all 20 had resisted, yeah, many of them probably would have got killed, but they got killed anyway. 1 or 2 of them could have got lucky. Alright, so that's all I want to say, just some observations. You need to draw a clear line right? And you need to know why that line is there, and beyond that line, you fight. All right? This has been We All Juggle Knives. Hope you enjoy the discussion. I'm out.